Alex had seen many things through his drone, but none so terrifying as this. As he flew his drone over the rugged peaks of the Appalachian Mountains, he suddenly saw something he almost couldn't believe. He knew he had to investigate further, so he went to see it for himself. If only he knew then that his life would never be the same after this. Alex couldn't believe his eyes as he looked at the monitor in his hands. His drone hovered above a small mountain and captured something he had never seen before. Alex slowly zoomed in, but he couldn't figure out what he was looking at. So, there was only one thing left to do. He had to see it with his own eyes. Alex had been on a mission to capture the endangered red wolf on camera, but instead captured something that could change his life forever. He let the drone hover in the same place and began to hike in its direction. He could hear the silent zooming sound of his drone in the distance, even though it was out of sight. The air was cold, and Alex had to wear his scarf all the way up to his nose. The snow crunched under his boots as he began to walk up the mountain trail. It was obvious that no one had been here in a while, even though the Appalachians were a popular hiking spot. Alex figured it was probably because of the cold weather, but little did he know it was actually because of something else entirely. When he started his hike, it had been late in the morning. He had figured it wouldn't take him more than 2 hours to walk up to the top of the mountain, but now that he was actually on his way, he realized he had made a bit of a mistake. The mountain was higher than he had anticipated, and he had no water or food with him. He figured if he got really thirsty, he could just eat some snow. It wouldn't be very tasty or healthy, but it would be better than dehydrating. So he kept on walking. Looking back, he should have turned around after his first doubt. After about an hour of walking, the sun was high in the sky, and he actually began to feel very hot. His belly began to rumble from hunger, and his mouth was dry from thirst. Alex decided to briefly stop to eat some snow and rest. The hike was slowly taking its toll on him, and he was actually considering turning around and going back. But just as he wanted to retrieve his drone, he realized he hadn't paid enough attention to it. His stomach dropped as he realized the drone's battery was at 1%. Alex quickly pressed the retrieve button, but it was already too late. The screen turned black, and Alex heard his drone crash into the rocks in the distance. The sound of the drone's crash echoed off the mountains, reflecting the eerie reality of how alone he was. Knowing he couldn't leave without his drone, Alex had to move forward. He gave himself a quick pep talk and continued with his hike. He figured he could arrive at the top, weak and out of breath, as he had enough time to recover there. He pushed himself to the maximum of his capability. But as soon as he arrived at the top of the mountain, his stomach dropped. He saw a great white expanse of snow, but not his drone or the things he had seen on his screen. As he scanned his surroundings, he suddenly saw his drone a little way down a cliff, stuck between a couple of rocks. He decided to climb down, even though he knew it was a very stupid idea. Who would risk his life for a drone? He quickly walked to the edge of the mountain, his heart beating in his chest. If he were to slip and fall, it would mean his death. He slowly crouched down and turned to face the mountain. He lowered one of his legs and sought a split piece of rock that wasn't slippery. After his one leg stood strongly, he lowered his other leg and slowly climbed down. Alex took his first step down the cliff with great care. The path was steep and filled with hidden dangers. Each movement he made was slow and deliberate, making sure the ground beneath him was solid. He knew the importance of being cautious on such a risky descent. Every step forward required his full attention to avoid the loose stones and sharp edges that littered the way. Alex's foot suddenly slipped on a loose stone, causing his heart to leap into his throat. He steadied himself quickly, but the scare made him extra cautious. Realizing the danger he was in, he understood that even a small mistake could lead to a serious fall. This moment made him even more determined to move carefully, fully aware of the cliff's treacherous nature. At one point, Alex found himself holding onto a jagged rock, his stability in jeopardy. He gripped the rock tightly, fighting against the pull of gravity. This precarious position was a stark reminder of the dangers of his mission. As he clung to the rock, he knew he had to muster his strength to overcome this challenge and continue his descent safely. While hanging from the rock, doubts began to creep into Alex's mind. He questioned whether retrieving his drone was worth the risk. The fear and uncertainty of his situation made him reconsider the value of his mission. This moment of hesitation was a critical point, forcing him to weigh the risks against the need to recover his drone. Gathering his resolve, Alex managed to find a more stable spot to place his feet. He pushed past his doubts, focusing on the task at hand. With renewed determination, he carefully planned each move, making sure to test the safety of his next step. This cautious approach helped him regain confidence as he continued his climb, one careful step at a time. Alex could see his drone just a few meters away, almost within reach. He carefully moved across the last few meters of the rocky cliff. Each step was crucial, as the path remained dangerous. His eyes stayed fixed on the drone, guiding him forward. The closer he got, the more he could almost touch the success of his risky journey. When Alex finally reached his drone, a wave of victory washed over him. He picked it up with hands that trembled slightly, not just from the cold, but from the adrenaline. Holding the drone, he felt a mix of triumph and the sobering thought of his climb back. The journey down was tough, but going back up, especially with the drone, promised to be even more challenging. Climbing back up with the drone proved difficult. Every step tested Alex's strength and determination. The drone, though not extremely heavy, made balancing harder and slowed his pace. He had to stop more often than he liked, catching his breath and planning his next move. This climb was not just a physical battle, but a mental one, pushing him to his limits. Each upward step became a fight against exhaustion. Alex felt the weight of his find, both physically and mentally. He knew he couldn't give up, not after coming this far. With every pause, he reminded himself of the importance of his mission. It was more than just retrieving the drone. It was about completing what he had set out to do, despite the difficulties. As Alex neared the top, his spirits began to rise. The thought of reaching solid ground and the safety it promised gave him a new burst of energy. He imagined stepping onto the summit, leaving the treacherous climb behind. This vision fueled him, driving him forward. The end of his journey was in sight, and with it, the relief of having overcome the challenges he faced. Alex reached the summit and took a moment to catch his breath. He looked around, taking in the stunning view that stretched out before him. The beauty of the mountains in the quiet of the wilderness was a stark contrast to the perilous journey he had just endured. This brief break allowed him to appreciate not just the view, but the fact that he had made it back safely. After a few moments of rest, Alex noticed something unusual in the distance. Mysterious objects scattered across the landscape sparked his curiosity anew. The exhaustion and fear from his climb faded, replaced by a sense of adventure. This unexpected sight pulled at him, urging him to explore what these strange objects could be. With his interest piqued, Alex didn't wait long before he started towards the mysterious objects. The danger he had just faced seemed to fall away as his curiosity drove him forward. Each step brought him closer to uncovering what lay hidden in the mountains, and his determination grew. He was drawn to the unknown, eager to discover its secrets. As Alex got closer to the objects, his excitement built. Details that were once obscured by distance began to emerge. The shapes started to take form, hinting at something man-made and out of place in the natural setting. With every step, Alex's anticipation grew, his eyes keenly observing every detail that came into view. Finally, standing before the covered shapes, Alex felt a surge of intrigue. The objects were clearly covered for a reason, suggesting they were not meant to be found. As he reached out to uncover the first shape, he stood on the brink of discovery. What secrets would these mysterious objects reveal? Alex was about to find out, his heart racing with the thrill of the unknown. Alex pulled back the covering on the first object, revealing something completely unexpected. It wasn't natural at all, but made by humans, looking out of place against the wild backdrop of the mountains. This wasn't what he thought he'd find, throwing all his guesses out the window. The object's artificial nature made him wonder what it was doing here, hidden away so carefully. As he uncovered more objects, each revealed its unique shape, none of which Alex recognized. They all hinted at some specific purpose, though not immediately clear, something not benign or ordinary. These shapes, partially hidden by snow and tarp, seemed to tell a story of secrecy and perhaps danger, making Alex even more determined to understand their true nature. The way these objects were designed and hidden away gave Alex a bad feeling. It was as if whoever put them here didn't want them found, suggesting they were up to no good. The secrecy and the effort taken to conceal these items in such a remote location hinted at a dark purpose, one that Alex couldn't yet fully grasp but felt increasingly uneasy about. Standing among the strange objects, Alex found himself deep in thought. Who had placed them here, and why? What was their purpose? His mind raced with questions that had no immediate answers. The mystery deepened with every new detail he uncovered, casting a shadow over his curiosity. He felt a mix of excitement and worry, unsure of what his discoveries might ultimately reveal. As Alex investigated further, the mystery only grew. Each object he uncovered seemed to be a piece of a larger puzzle, with each clue leading to more questions than answers. The slow pace of his discoveries added to the suspense, making him realize he was perhaps dealing with something much bigger than he had initially thought. With every new detail, the story of these mysterious crates became even more complicated and intriguing. Just as Alex was piecing together the puzzle, the quiet of the mountain was shattered by the sound of engines growing closer. This noise was out of place in the serene wilderness, immediately grabbing his attention and alerting him to possible danger. The unexpected sound signaled that he wasn't alone, introducing a new threat to the already mysterious situation. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Alex quickly looked for a place to hide. The approaching sounds meant that people were coming, and he wasn't sure if they were friend or foe. With little time to think, he found a spot among the rocks, hoping it would keep him out of sight. The urgency of hiding underscored the danger of being discovered by these unknown arrivals. Two men soon appeared, moving with a purpose that suggested they were no ordinary hikers. Their quick, deliberate actions and the way they scanned the area made it clear they were here for the crates. Alex watched from his hiding spot, his heart pounding. The men's presence and their focused search hinted at something illegal or dangerous connected to the mysterious crates. From his concealed position, Alex observed the men handling the crates with a familiarity that suggested they knew exactly what they were looking for. Their actions, careful yet swift, indicated they were trying to keep their work hidden. Watching them, Alex realized there was a significant secret tied to these objects, something the men were desperate to protect or retrieve. After what felt like an eternity, the men finished their business with the crates and left as quickly as they had arrived. The sound of their engines faded into the distance, but the tension in the air remained. Alex was left alone once again, with even more questions about the crate's contents and the men's intentions. Their departure marked the end of an immediate threat, but it left Alex with a deeper sense of unease about what he had stumbled upon. Even after the men left, Alex felt uneasy. He stayed hidden a little longer, thinking about what to do next. The quiet of the mountains returned, but the peace was gone for Alex. He wondered if the men would come back or if there were others nearby. This worry made it hard for him to decide whether to leave immediately or stay and learn more about the crates. Just as Alex was about to leave his hiding spot, a strange noise stopped him. It wasn't like the engines from before, but something else, unsettling in the silence. This noise made him pause, torn between the urge to flee and the need to find out more. It seemed like the mountain itself was warning him, yet also pulling him back towards the mystery. After a moment of hesitation, Alex's curiosity won over his fear. He couldn't leave with so many questions unanswered. Knowing the risks, he decided to go back to the crates for a closer look. This decision was risky, especially since the men might return, but the need to know what was hidden was too strong for him to ignore. As Alex approached the crates again, he felt the weight of his decision. The danger of the men coming back was real, and he knew he had to be quick. The urge to uncover the truth battled with his instinct to stay safe. This dilemma pressed on him, making each step towards the crates feel heavier and more dangerous than the last. Driven by the strange noise and his determination to find the truth, Alex made up his mind. He reached the crates and prepared to reveal their secrets. This moment felt like a turning point, with the potential to change everything he thought he knew about this place. With a deep breath, Alex began to uncover the crates, ready to face whatever lay inside. Alex's need to know the truth eventually grew stronger than his fear. Even knowing the danger, he couldn't turn away now. His mind was filled with questions about the crates and their secrets. This curiosity pulled him forward, making him forget the risk of being caught by the TWP men. He was determined to find out what was so important about these crates. Moving closer to the crates for the second time, Alex felt the thrill of the unknown. The mystery of what they contained and what that meant drove him. He knew this could be a big discovery, something much more significant than he first thought. With cautious steps, he approached, the snow quietly crunching under his boots, driven by the chance to uncover something truly important. Now, standing right in front of the crates, Alex realized the moment of truth was right in front of him. These crates held the answers to the questions that had been haunting him. His hands moved to lift the top, ready to finally see what secrets lay hidden beneath. This was the moment he would understand why the men were so secretive. The strange noise that had stopped Alex earlier became clearer as he got closer. It seemed to be coming from the crates themselves, urging him to look faster. This sound, once a warning, now pushed him to discover its source more quickly. It felt like the crates were calling out to him, demanding him to uncover what had been sealed away for anyone to see. As Alex lifted the tarp, what he found inside took his breath away. It wasn't what he expected at all. Instead of inanimate objects or contraband, he found endangered animals like the red wolf, trapped and scared. This discovery changed everything. It wasn't just about curiosity anymore, it was about a crime against nature. Alex knew he had to act, and fast. Finding the endangered animals hidden inside the crates, Alex realized he had uncovered a criminal scheme. This wasn't just about smuggling goods, it was about harming innocent animals. His discovery could help stop those responsible and save these creatures. The situation shifted from a simple adventure to a fight for conservation and heroism, with Alex at the center of it all. Alex didn't waste any time. He pulled out his phone and dialed the authorities, explaining what he had found. His voice was steady, but inside, he was a mix of anger and concern for the animals. By calling for help, he showed he was ready to do whatever it took to ensure the animals' safety. It was a moment that proved his dedication to doing the right thing. After making the call, Alex stayed by the crates, watching over the animals. He wanted to make sure they were safe until help arrived. He used his jacket to cover a shivering wolf and spoke softly to them, trying to provide some comfort. As he waited for the authorities, Alex felt a sense of guardianship over these animals, determined to keep them safe. As he waited, Alex thought about the impact of his actions. He had stumbled upon something much bigger than he had imagined. The thought that he could save these animals and possibly put an end to this illegal operation weighed heavily on him. This responsibility added a new layer to his character, transforming him from an ordinary hiker into a protector of the natural world. In the quiet moments before help arrived, Alex reflected on his journey. What started as a quest to capture the beauty of nature with his drone had turned into a crucial conservation effort. He realized the bravery it took to stand up for what was right and the importance of protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. This adventure had changed him, reinforcing the value of courage and conservation. Just as Alex was caught up in his thoughts, the sound of engines disrupted the silence again. The men were coming back, and the danger was now real and close. Alex's heart raced as he realized the confrontation he had hoped to avoid was about to happen. The return of the men meant he had to act fast to protect the animals and himself from being discovered. Alex quickly looked for a place to hide, knowing he had to stay out of sight to protect the animals. He covered the crates as best as he could and found a hiding spot nearby. His mind raced with thoughts of what could happen if he were caught. The stakes were incredibly high, not just for him, but for the animals he was now determined to save. Hidden, Alex watched the men approach, hoping the authorities would arrive in time. He checked his phone, but there was no signal to update him on their arrival. Every second felt like an eternity as he waited, hoping for the sound of sirens or any sign of help. The tension was unbearable, knowing that getting caught could ruin everything he had worked for. Suddenly, one of the men spotted movement near the crates, and the chase was on. Alex used his knowledge of the terrain to his advantage, dodging between trees and rocks, leading the men away from the animals. His heart pounded as he ran, fueled by adrenaline and the desperate hope of escape. It was a high-stakes game of cat and mouse, with Alex's freedom on the line. Just when Alex thought he couldn't run any longer, the sound of a helicopter broke through the noise. It was the authorities, arriving just in time. The helicopter landed between Alex and the men, providing the rescue he had been hoping for. The men were quickly apprehended, and Alex was safe at last. The relief was overwhelming as he realized the animals would be safe and the villains caught, thanks to his actions and a timely rescue. After the rescue, word of Alex's bravery spread quickly. People hailed him as a hero, praising his courage and quick thinking. His actions not only saved the animals, but also helped capture those who threatened them. This recognition was more than he had ever expected, affirming his role in a larger fight for justice and conservation. Alex felt a mix of pride and humility, grateful for the outcome. Soon, Alex's story was everywhere, drawing attention from conservationists and the public. He received messages of thanks and admiration, highlighting the impact of his actions. This newfound fame was unexpected for Alex, who had set out that day with a simple goal. The appreciation from others made him realize the significance of what he had done, bringing attention to the cause he inadvertently championed. In the days that followed, Alex had time to reflect on his adventure. He thought about the risks he took and the lessons he learned along the way. The experience taught him the importance of standing up for what's right and the impact one person can have. Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose, understanding that bravery isn't just about facing danger, but also about making a difference where it counts. The entire ordeal transformed Alex. Before, he had been an avid hiker and drone enthusiast, but now he saw himself as a protector of nature. This shift in perspective influenced his future plans, making him more committed to conservation efforts. Alex realized that making a difference didn't always require grand gestures. Sometimes it was about being in the right place at the right time and doing what's necessary. As Alex looked back on his unexpected journey, he felt hopeful about the future. The adventure had ended, but it marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life. Inspired by the impact he had made, Alex was eager for his next adventure, knowing that his actions could inspire change. The story concludes with Alex more determined than ever to contribute to the world, one step at a time.